Hello there. My name's Tom Ballard. I'm a comedian and I'm a very proud ambassador for Refugee Legal. Thank you for watching this. I hope you're keeping safe and doing okay during these unprecedented times. I'm here with the Executive Director of Refugee Legal, David Manne. Hello, David.
Hi, Tom. Good to be with you at a distance.
At a distance, yes. Great to be with you in these wild times indeed. We just wanted to check in with you and the Refugee Legal family and ask really, what exactly does this health crisis, this pandemic mean for the kind of people that you help at Refugee Legal?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, the pandemic is affecting us all in extraordinary ways. And I guess with asylum seekers, refugees and vulnerable migrants, the people that we help, the situation is even more difficult. I mean, these vulnerable people that we help are at even greater vulnerability at the moment due to the pandemic. And there are so many people in desperate need of our help who are at real risk, Tom. There are really, really serious issues at the moment across our country when it comes to these vulnerable people and their plight.
Mm. I mean, it's a myriad of issues, right? It's a logistical nightmare, as you say, for everybody. But for things like organising translators, talking to people via video conference, all these kind of challenges must come up regularly in the kind of work that you do.
Well, that's right. I mean, look, frankly, isolation, uncertainty, all of these barriers to, accessing basic supports, accessing legal help, getting a fair hearing, they're actually part of people's daily lives in this area. But I think that the point is that the pandemic itself is making things even more difficult. It's creating further barriers to accessing, basic supports, including legal support, even greater barriers to accessing healthcare, greater barriers to basically getting a fair hearing. And I think that the direct and indirect implications of COVID-19 are extremely serious for people that we help.
And of course, not to mention people in immigration detention, right? Whether people are languishing in detention centres or in hotels, people might have seen stories like that come up in the news. What is life like for people who are detained during COVID-19 right now?
Oh, look, people who are in detention are even in a worse predicament. I mean, every person in this country, Tom, deserves to be protected during what is a public health emergency, as we know. And, that must include vulnerable men and women, the many vulnerable men and women who are locked up at the moment. And, health experts continue to, highlight the dire risks, the potentially catastrophic risks for people detained. And it is critical that there be immediate steps by the government, which have not been taken, to get people into safer places. I mean, the essence of this is that people are being held in situations in detention, including many people that we help, who are very frightened because they're in conditions in detention, trapped there, without being able to essentially practice the basic standards that are expected of all of us otherwise in the community, like social distancing, like self-isolation. They can't do it because they're trapped in circumstances where it's not possible to do so. And that means far greater risk to them and far greater risk to others.
And to their mental health as well, right? Like I know personally, I visited a friend of mine in the Melbourne Immigration Transit accommodation. Visitation has ended out there at the moment. I just can't go see him, and that's a huge boost to people's mental health, particularly for people who've been in detention for years on end. So it's really grim. We know that. The good news is that Refugee Legal hasn't shut down, isn't reducing services. You guys are continuing to do the vital work that you do throughout this pandemic, yeah?
Well, that's right, Tom. I mean, the basic reality is that despite the lockdowns nationally, the government is continuing to process people's cases. And that means at the same time that we have needed to, and we have acted very quickly to change the way that we do things. And that's meant a range of things. I mean, at its heart, our response has been three-pronged. It's been to make sure that we continue our core services, that we make sure that we protect clients' rights and the well-being of staff and volunteers. And at the same time, the core operations continue and are enhanced. And basically what that means, Tom, is that despite all of the restrictions, we haven't scaled back. In fact, we've scaled up. And that means that we've adapted and maintained frontline services. Our legal team now work from home, but continue to do what they do best, and that is provide fundamental legal help through all of the services. That means through telephone advice, through night service, our special clinics, full casework representation, and strategic litigation. So all of that continues. We've also boosted our IT capacity and phone infrastructure. We've even purchased essential equipment, to set up home offices for staff and volunteers, headsets. We've made sure everyone has effectively, really the equipment that they need to work from home to do their job. And we've also upgraded our IT server and IT capacity to make sure that we have proper connectivity from home. And Tom, the other thing that I wanted to just coming back to the situation of people detained, we have been, together with others, together with partners, pro bono partners, we've been looking very, very carefully at what can be done to ensure that people that we assist and that are calling for our help from detention can get the help they need, including challenging the situation where they are trapped in these dangerous situations.
Again, vital work, and it's really great to hear that that is continuing to happen. Of course, boosting that capacity costs money. And thanks to the generosity of people out there across this country who support the work that Refugee Legal does, you've been able to do that. That is fantastic. But again, the work is ongoing. The need is ongoing. And if you're able to support Refugee Legal, please keep doing that. Please make sure that is ongoing. People can still support, again, the vital work that you're doing during this pandemic, right, David?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. Well, one great bit of news I just wanted to share with you too is that we've seen a boost in volunteer contribution since the pandemic, started and really took hold, and that has been remarkable. All around the country, we have volunteers working remotely, helping us to help others who are in desperate need. But over and above that, I'm sure you'd appreciate, and others would too, that acting early and working differently comes at a real cost. And it's through in recent years the generosity of the public, generosity of supporters, that we've been able to not only maintain what we do, but to build on that and to defend people's rights when they're in desperate need. And Tom, there has never been a greater time of need than now for people to get the help in these very difficult circumstances.
There you go, folks. We need your help. Please, if you can, and we know it's a difficult time for lots of people right now, if you can, if you're in a position to contribute financially and support Refugee Legal and the stuff they do, please do so. Go to refugeelegal.org.au, make a donation, make a tax-deductible donation, and we'll be forever grateful. And you will know that you are helping to support the vital work that Refugee Legal, David and the whole team, continue to do during this COVID-19 unprecedented situation. refugeelegal.org.au is the website to go to. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. And thank you, David, for the work that you do, and good luck.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for your support.